Let's get ready for my first ever brand event. I have my regular skincare skin prep on, and I'm going in with my e.l.f. Power Grip primer. I just have my hair sitting in rollers so I can brush it out later, but starting with my usual, which is the House Labs foundation. This is the shade 200. I'm just layering up on this for a little extra coverage, but I'm going to an event tonight for a little hat bar that's opening up in town, and I'm going to create my own cowgirl hat, which is so exciting. I live in Nashville and I grew up like in kind of a farm town, and I don't even own a cowgirl hat, so I'm excited to make one. Layering some concealer for a little extra coverage, and this is the NARS concealer in the shade Madeline. Concealer is blended out. I'm going in with my usual contour stick, which is the LYS contour stick in the shade Harmony. Doing my cheekbones and forehead, and then I'm just going to blend that out with this brush, which is from Bosma. Just doing my nose a little bit too, and tapping that out with the same brush. And then dragging it over my eyes for a little bit of eye contour going on. This part, honestly, I leave kind of messy because I'll just sharpen it all up afterwards with concealer anyway. Using my tried and true NARS Shape Tape in the shade 16N, just going underneath like that, and then swiping out to carve out that contour. Blending that out now with my beauty blender and making sure to sharpen up like the nose and then that eye contour that we did earlier. For today's look, I want to definitely go like very bronzy and brown, I think. So I'm going to start with my Rhode Pocket Blush in Tan Line and swipe that over the high points of my cheek. And then I'm going to layer that with a tiny bit of my Huda Beauty blush filter, and this is in the shade Latte. I think this will make it look like super pretty and bronzy and brown. I'm going to use a smaller little blush brush from Bosma to tap all of that out. If it ever starts to look like that for you, you can always just go back in and tap out your concealer into it to soften that line so that it starts looking more like this and less like a big streak on your cheek. Blush is all blended out. This is exactly what I wanted. I dragged a little bit over my nose, on my chin, and the temples of my forehead too. Time to set everything. I'm just using my Huda Beauty Pound Cake Loose Powder. I'm going under the eyes to start, dabbing a little bit on my chin and my T-zone as well. I'm using my Physicians Formula in the shade Deep. The package actually broke, and this happens to me very often because I am a serial bronzer dropper, but it still works just fine like this. Again, just tapping over exactly where I did that cream contour earlier. Since I don't know how to nose contour for the life of me, I just drag it down the sides of my nose and call it good. I want to keep the blush not super pink, so using the Milani blush in Petal Primavera and just tapping that over the highest points of my cheek. I'm going to bake a little bit just using my same Huda Beauty powder, carving out my cheekbones, and then also using that to sharpen up the sides of my nose. Before we get to the fun part, which is eyes, I'm going to do my eyebrows using this Maybelline Super Lock Brow Gel and slicking them down first, letting them dry, and then I'll fill them in afterwards. Brows are dry. I'm going to fill them in with the NYX Lift and Snatch pen, and this is in the shade Brunette. It's a bit tedious to sit here and do all of it, but I really like the way that it looks when it's all done. I've literally been asked before if I get my eyebrows microbladed because of this brow product, so if that's the look you're going for, you will love this. Using my usual Makeup by Mario palette, and I'm going to dip into these two colors right here, dragging that on the outer corner of my eye and a little bit through the crease. Deepening up that outer corner just a little bit using this brown shade. I keep it pretty simple. I honestly typically use the same brush, and I will just go back and forth between all the colors till it's about looking the way I want it to. A little tip, if things start looking really dark, just go back in with your lighter colors and brush it over the top to reblend everything. Using a little bit more of a tapered brush and going back in with those two lighter colors underneath the lash line. And then with a more defined brush, using that darker color and really going close to the lash line here. Sticking with that very bronzy kind of brown look we have going on, I'm going to use this golden shade down here from the Huda Beauty Icy Nude palette, and it is called Gold Standard. Just taking that on my finger and then patting it all over the lid. It's okay if it's messy because you can always go back and blend it out. I usually get a ton of fallout from that, so I'm just going in with this Charlotte Tilbury pressed powder. This is in the shade 1, and wiping all of that glitter off of my cheeks and off of the underneath of my eyes. Finishing with my usual wing, just using this really deep brown color on an eyebrow brush, flicking that out just kind of messily, and then I always just take my nail to really drag it out. Finishing off the eyes using my usual highlight, which is Cookie by Benefit, putting that on my inner corners and then also dusting it a little bit under my brow bone. Finishing off the face by just wiping off my bake right now, and I always go in with the Charlotte Tilbury powder just to make sure that I'm not disrupting any of the makeup underneath. I'm gonna add a few freckles. This is the Freck XL pen, just dotting those on kind of like the bridge of my nose. Moving on to eyelashes now, just curling with my Shiseido lash curler. I'm gonna go in with a few coats of this L'Oreal Extensionist mascara. I did just add little clusters on the ends of my lashes because my lashes are struggling right now. now, and I use these little bee blinky ones. I buy them at Target and I love them. Popping everything off with the Morphe Life Proof Spray. I've been trying this out. I bought it the other day and it is so good. I love it. I think for lips, I'm going to line with this Fenty Beauty Traced Out Liner, and this is in Peanut Butter. I've never used this shade, so let's see. Okay, here is that liner. I really, really like that color. I think I'm going to top it off with the new gloss from Fenty Beauty, which is in the shade Rose Amber. It's like this really beautiful sparkly chocolate brown, but I think it might look really pretty sheared out. There is that all on. It is so pretty. I really like this shade too. Here's everything up close right now. Let me take my hair down, get dressed, and then we'll come back and look at the final product. I'm all changed. My hair is down and brushed out, and here is the final look. So wish me luck. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.